Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. In a significant operation in Chhattisgarh's Garhyaban district, a Maoist leader carrying a 1 crore rupee bounty was amongst 20 Maoists killed in a fierce encounter with security forces. Union Home Minister Amit Shah hailed the operations as a major success, further calling it a mighty blow to Maoism. Jairam Reddy, known as Chalapati, a senior member of the Maoist Centre Committee, was killed in the gunfight, which took place in the dense forest area near the Chhattisgarh-Odisha border. The operation involved a joint team of security personnel, including the District Reserve Guard, the Central Reserve Police Force, Cobra from Chhattisgarh, and the Special Operation Group from Odisha. The operation was initiated based on intelligence reports regarding Maoist presence in the Kulgari Ghat Reserve Forest, located only 5 kilometers from Odisha's Nuapara district. A large cache of weapons, ammunition and IEDs, including a self-loading rifle, were recovered from the encounter site as well. Major General Rajan Kochar, defence expert, is joining us live. Major General Sudhakarji, defence expert, is also live with us on the broadcast. Vicky Nanjappa, journalist tracking internal security, also joins us live. P.K. Mishra, former ADG CRPF, also is with us on the broadcast. Major General Kochar, let me begin with you first. How big a success is this for our forces? Major General Kochar, can you hear me? Okay, I think we are having some technical trouble with this connection. Major General Sudhakarji, why don't I take that to you on this, of course, development that has occurred in Chhattisgarh. At the end of the day, in this quest to end Maoism and to root out this, seed from those Chhattisgarh forests, how big of a development is this?
Uday, good evening. Thank you for getting me to your show. Best wishes to our co-panelists and the viewers. This is a historic milestone, I would say. Such a kind of a joint operation is very difficult to coordinate in dense forest. I have been there in Chhattisgarh. It's very, very challenging. And the hallmark of this operation is very precise and accurate information provided by the police people on ground. And more than anything else, if you allow me, I would like to give a larger picture for our audience that way back in 2009, if I recall correctly, I was in service. I used to deal with the subject in some form or the other. We had a total number of districts affected were 180 approximately. And from 2009, this number of districts affected by LWE has come down drastically to 2021. If I again respect my memory, the figures have come down to 70 affected districts. And within those 70 affected districts, 25 are the ones which actually experienced more than 85% of LWE attack, Maoist attack. So that is in last 5 years, to my understanding, the number of districts which are worst affected have come down drastically to 60, out of that to 38. And there has been a remarkable progress in this particular red corridor. It's gradually shrinking in size. And I think the large number of Maoists have been neutralized. And in times ahead, the momentum should be kept up, and I think the central government is giving adequate support and motivation, due recognition to these people. And in times ahead, this is how the operations have to be conducted, with minimum collateral damage, minimum damage to our own troops, own CAPF, and based on accurate and timely intelligence, surgical operations can be carried out. I am given to understand by people on ground that this operation has been lasting for past nearly 48 hours, still carrying on. There is an exchange of fire which is on. One of our Cobra soldiers has been actually incapacitated. And maybe for all you know, besides the top leader who's been neutralized, on whom there was a booty which was kept for 1 crore, there are a good number of people who are in the close proximity, or his coterie consisting of almost over 36 to 40. 14 have been neutralized. Many more are actually in a peripheral kind of security duty. Perhaps our troops in this joint operation, they'll be able to neutralize many more. Back to you, Uday.
So quickly take that across to our other guests as well. Vicky Nanjappa, let me quickly draw you in here. On to this discussion. Just tell us a bit more about how big achievement, of course, for the forces this is, and also where exactly this ambush took place, in which several Maoists have, of course, been killed, including this one who had a huge bounty on him.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is important also in the context of the Home Minister, making that very important statement where he said by March 2026, Naxalism, will cease to exist in this country. But see, what we are seeing now there is, the success which, over the last couple of years, there's a lot of work which has gone on in the background. That is one. And one thing, if you see a large number of successful operations that have been taking place is, due to good coordination between the state and central forces, which is very, very important. And if you see in 2024 alone, the number of Naxalites arrested are around 800 and 802 have surrendered. And you see, there's also one thing is that, they're also facing a very big fund crunch. If we give you a statistic between 2009 and 2015, the net worth of these Naxalites has grown from 1,000 crores to 2,500 crores. And then many people forget that there was a lot that the government had to do even in the urban areas, where people were running NGOs on their behalf and collecting funds. Once that crackdown happened. Once that crackdown happened, there was automatically a fund squeeze, and so they were not able to procure arms and things. So there's a lot of work which has gone, and we're seeing the results today.
Let me, in fact, also take that to PK Mishra. PK Mishra, what would have been, of course, the planning for such an operation? How strategically was it panned out to ensure this success?
Yes, I can well tell you that I spoke to the police station Manipur. In fact, it happened in Manipur police station area at Gariyaband in Kalaghat Reserve Forest. And the moment they got the contact, in fact, it's a combined group of Andhra, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh. It's surprising. All the three groups were there, and they had their planning in Odisha Chhattisgarh border, and particularly this Tulsi Dogri area, Malkangiri border, and Nuapada border with Manipur police station of Chhattisgarh. These tribal areas, they have informers, our own security informers available, and 24 hours satellite cover is being given to these areas, because from Telangana, Andhra, and Odisha border, they more or less they come to Chhattisgarh to have the operation and they go back. Like in most of the cases, they escaped to Malkangiri after having an incident, after carrying on an incident in Chhattisgarh. But the worst part of it nowadays, all the border, particularly
Mr. Mishra, can you hear me? Okay, I think we seem to have lost him once again. Do we have Major General Kochar back with us? Major General Kochar, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Major General Kochar, yes, I was trying to bring you in here earlier onto this discussion, of course, to talk our viewers through how big an achievement this is for our forces and where, henceforth, this takes our fight against Naxalism.
Uday, I think this is a very significant operation. Joint operations are always very difficult to execute. And here we have three agencies being involved: the Cobra, the CRPF, and the Special Operations Group. So we have a very robust, I think, strategy which is in place in Chhattisgarh today. And let me tell you, Chhattisgarh is the epicenter of this Maoist insurgency. As of now, I am given to understand there are 15 districts in Chhattisgarh which are affected or which are dominated by these Maoist elements. 7 districts in Odisha, 5 in Jharkhand, and then, of course, not very relevant in the other states. So we are now focusing, and the security forces have a very concerted strategy, because they are now focusing on these 3 states. Jharkhand, Orissa, and Chhattisgarh. And this present incident is on the Chhattisgarh and the Odisha border in a place called Gariaband. So if you see, there has been a multi-pronged strategy. The first is the availability of human intelligence. The second is the availability of electronic intelligence, as has been mentioned about the surveillance through satellites, and all those measures have been kept. The third important thing is the use of drones. So, all this technology has played a very great role in ensuring that we identify this movement. And one important point is, and we are talking about these central committee members. See, this is the first time we have liquidated a central committee member, and according to my statistics, which are available with me, 15 out of those 24 central committee members are more than 60 years old today, and this gentleman is also more than 60 years old. So it clearly shows that the young people are not reinforcing this movement any longer. The intelligence reports dossier or the NIA dossier also suggests there has been a decrease in fresh recruitments because the youth of these areas are not willing to join the movement, and the reason is because of the government. Various schemes have been launched in these areas, especially in these remote areas, and all the grievances of the people, especially the tribals who are staying in these areas, are being addressed. And once you address these issues in a multi-pronged strategy, it is not only the security you have to take care of, you have to take care of development interventions. You have to take care of the right and entitlements of the committees or the tribal unit committees. And once you do that, I think government is doing a very fine job. The Chhattisgarh government and the Jharkhand and Odisha governments, I think all three governments are doing a wonderful job to address the concerns of the tribals. And once you do that, you will find this all this Mao elements will start beginning to actually wane out and to decline, and that is what we are seeing a 77% reduction in the activities of the insurgents in these areas, and a great amount of success for the security forces. And the success, I would actually conclude by saying the success has been largely due to a better training of these forces, the Cobra elements and the state government security forces and the CRPF special commandos have been assigned, for these missions. And the second part is a very good human intelligence as well as electronic intelligence. And I think that's why the successes are coming to us. Uday.
Yes. Okay, let me take that quickly to back across to Major Sudhakarji as well. Major Sudhakarji, how big of a menace does, Maoism continue to be, Naxalism continue to be in India in 2025? And, what further strides are needed to ensure we have, a Naxal-free India in the offing soon?
Uday, it's an excellent question you have asked. This is the point which has been coming to my mind off and on. We need to actually be alive to the dots related to security paradigm in and around India. If we join the dots, the following things they emerge. There is a huge polarization, notwithstanding Trump having taken office yesterday, and I would say that what is happening in Middle East and Ukraine and elsewhere in Indo-Pacific, they have directly or indirect bearing. But essentially, I want to focus on China. As long as China is there as a northern border and it's an adversary, it's an understatement to say that it's an adversary of India. I would say this menace will continue. This menace will continue, may not be in Naxalist form. It may continue in different and multimodal hybrid form, to include cyber attack, to include electromagnetic attack, to include Naxalism in different forms. Now, what are those forms which may actually, it's a kind of an insurgency movement which started long, long back in 50s, late 50s, and it's still carrying on. China is taking advantage. There is a wing known as United Front Works Department, which came into existence way back in 1922 during Mao Zedong time. And the same has been revived with due impetus of funding, additional funding in the year 2019, post abrogation of Article 370 and Article 35 Alpha. Pakistan also is taking advantage. ISI is deeply involved. They may not be there in the red corridor, but definitely in proximity, say Bangladesh and Myanmar, ISI is definitely rampant. So therefore, it will be too premature on our part to celebrate and make joy about this achievement. We should be mentally very, very prepared. We must ensure capability enhancement, like the previous speakers have brought out. Following things need to be looked into. We have to address such kind of menace by a multi-pronged approach at the national level as a whole of nation approach, which should include the socio-economic development. I am aware of the fact that there are new railway lines which are being extended to improve connectivity. There are national highways which are being developed. Also, the schools are existing, but there are no teachers. Therefore, who do the students they fall back to? So therefore, there has to be peace and normalcy is the start point to make ensures any kind of socio-economic development. One. Number two, after the connectivity is the livelihood, the employment opportunities. There is no industry existing in this absolutely remote areas. We need to actually take into account introducing industry and commercial activities in these areas. Whatever is of the jungle and forested area is being harvested, that needs to be promoted with a view to make sure that the money reaches to the people, the tribal people, and then protecting the tribal laws also need to be protected. There has to be some mechanism to ensure that they are safeguarded from the poaching by resources and organizations which are inimical to national interest. Last but not the least, that it is a conduit. It is a conduit from Pashupati to Tirupati. This conduit is a time-tested one which can be taken advantage of multiple inimical resources which are available in the country in form of different forms of hybrid warfare. Drone is one such thing which is going to pose a very latent threat. So once we have decimated these people, we should be mentally prepared that they are going to bounce back with some degree of reprisal and vengeance. Therefore, we should guard our turf and guard our
Is that
self.
something that we need to keep in mind, Vicky Nanjappa? There could be a retributive attack for this, and that's why, of course, security should be beefed up over the next few days in the surrounding areas of Chhattisgarh and Odisha. Also, according to you, what have been the challenges that have held up, efforts to completely eliminate the issue of Naxalism from our country?
Definitely, Uday, the momentum has to, be on. Although we have this deadline of March 31, 2026, I think it will go beyond that because, the movement may be dead on the ground, but the thought process lingering on is actually extremely dangerous. It can always bounce back. And with regard to the existing encounter, yes, security has to be really, really high because, there are already intelligence inputs which suggest that, there will be an attack because they are desperate at the moment. They're on their last and final leg, so they will do anything and everything to bounce back and hit back, and so that if they hit back and they attain some sort of success, they could use that as a recruitment tool, and that is what they want, and for more funds. So I think the next couple of months are going to be extremely crucial, and this momentum should never fail, Uday, and coordination between the state and center is extremely important in this, and there cannot be any sort of politics or human rights where this issue is concerned, because in fact we actually tend to overrate the terrorism which is being carried out by Lashkar-e-Taiba. While those are horrific organizations, these pose a bigger danger to the country because it's an enemy within here.
All right, let me quickly go to PK Mishra as well. PK Mishra, at the end of the day, of course, this is a big step forward. But what next now need to be our priorities as we continue to aim to eliminating Maoism and Naxalism completely?
Yes, Sudha, I can well tell you what exactly it has happened since last 2 days, 48 hours. Though it's a very big success,
Yes.
but we should learn from our mistake in Bijapur also. We went for the operation. We are successful in eliminating 5 Naxalites, and on our return, our vehicle, the improvised explosive device was put on our return. So we have to learn from our mistake. The same thing occurred in 2023 also. We lost about nine of our security personnel when we were returning from a successful operation. Now what will happen? What happened in Kalari Ghat? They have lost about 6 cadets, including Chalpati, the commander, whose bounty was about 1 crore. So they will definitely, of course, since last 1 year, you find they fear to take direct challenge with security forces because they can't directly ambush them. Their only technique and the only tactics now left is putting improvised explosive devices on the tracks and roads being used by security forces, where we have to keep a track. And particularly this will happen in Odisha border and Chhattisgarh also. So the areas of Bijapur, Saranda, Abusmar, and Malkangiri, Nuapada, these areas we have to be very cautious, and interaction of security forces not only within the state but with other states adjacent, and particularly the border of both the states. They have to be dominated with satellite and drones. And the best part, what the other speakers were telling, development of the areas, tribal areas, we have to enter. It's not that we have to remain away and go for operation in those areas and come back. No, we have to have camps. We have to have permanent camps inside Abusmar, inside Saranda, inside those forests, and then go for operation, so that we know the terrain. And development of communication, development of health, particularly the livelihood of tribals. Best part of it, the tribals must be given. They have to be looked at, so that these young boys and girls of tribals, they should be allowed to come to the mainstream, and mostly all the paramilitary forces and the IRB also. And if we must go forward and get those young talents to enter these forces, because they are son of the soil. And definitely what Mr. Amit Shah has proposed, that 31st March, I hope about 90 to 95% Naxalism would definitely go. But we have to be careful what is happening in Manipur, how the weapons are coming from Myanmar, and how PLA is behaving. There is every possibility of those weapons coming from Myanmar through Mizoram and Manipur. They may reach again these Naxalites, but we have to see where are their training centers and how they are recruiting. Eye has to be kept up on them, and particularly our sources. We also have to find out where are their sources also. It's not only our sources, we have to see their sources.
Yes.
And how they are communicating.
Okay. Point taken. We've run out of time. I'm going to have to leave it at that. My thanks to our guests for joining us on this discussion. Let's slip into a short break.